I think I'm live. I think I'm good. Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Maybe I should take the hood off. I look a little creepy. There we go. Good evening, ladies and germs. It's your old buddy, your old pal, David with MBLEx Test Prep here to do a live stream. I haven't done one in a while. It's the holiday season and everything has been going on. It's finally the new year. Happy 2020, everybody. It's going to be a great year. I can feel it. So I'm back. Here I am. So of course, I always have to start with a little bit of product shilling. I do have the MBLEx Test Prep 2020 study guide available on Amazon right now. All you have to do is go to my webpage, mblextestprep.com. There's a link for it there. Or you can just go to Amazon, search for MBLEx Test Prep. Look for my name. Any book that has my name is my book. If it doesn't have my name, it's not my book. So go pick that up. It's less than $40 right now, I think. Amazon is discounting it for the time being. So I think it's like $38 and something cents right now. So which is an awesome deal. You can't get much better than that. I also have Kinesiology Made Easy. Get the 4th edition if you're looking for that. It has all of these awesome photos of muscles and body actions, and basically all the important stuff that you need to know for kinesiology is in this book, Kinesiology Made Easy. Get the 4th edition. Not the 3rd edition, get the 4th edition. It's like I'm in the 4th edition, please. It's the most updated, most current version. What else? I have Pathology for Massage Therapy. I should really get these, but I should order copies of my books. I don't have any on hand. I have the Kinesiology. I don't have any of the others. I just can't find them for some reason. So my kids in the other room. Of course, the second I leave, the second I step out, they start, the older one starts bothering the younger one because I'm not there to tell them to knock it off. Anyway, I have another book, Pathology for Massage Therapy. If pathology is what you need work on, I mean, it's a great reference guide just in general for your practice after you're done with school. But if you need help specifically with pathology, that is definitely the book to get. There are 2 versions out. One is in color, one is not. The color is more expensive because it costs more to print color copies. That's what a lot of people ask, like, why isn't the book in color? Because it costs a ton of money to make color copies, unfortunately. So color, I think it's about $60. Black and white is about $40. You can get the Kindle version, which has color photos with that. So I have all those books, and then I have one that has 10 MBLEx practice tests in it with pre-made flashcards. All you have to do is cut them out, get some scissors, cut them out. It's called MBLEx Test Prep, 10 MBLEx practice tests and flashcards, 2020 edition. So pick that up if you want pre-made flashcards. So how the MBLEx Test Prep live stream works is you ask questions about the MBLEx itself, or about content that you are having trouble with, and I try to answer it as best I can, pretty well, I'd say. So, yep, fire questions away over there in the little chat box. I'm looking at it right now. I haven't gotten any questions yet. Of course, I've been rambling for a while. I do that. So, post your questions, and I am here to answer them. So let's see. While I wait for a question, of course. Send your questions, interrupt me. I ramble, I talk a lot, okay? So you got questions, I got answers. Post your question, I'll answer it right here, right now. Right here, right now. I'm gonna move that down just a little. There we go. So I'm more center. I'm sorry, it's just the visual nature of me. I guess I gotta make sure everything kind of looks as good as it possibly can. Okay, so if you noticed, from my previous videos, I have gotten a haircut recently. Looking stylish. Let's do a little bit of a quiz. What material is hair made of? What is hair made out of? What do you think? I don't know where that's been. What do you think? What is hair made out of? Now, please answer me. Don't make me ask this question numerous times. So I got a few people watching. What is hair made out of? I got it right here. I got it here. I got it other places I'm not going to mention. Of course, my chest. Of course. Hair is also made out of the same substance that makes our fingernails. See, even though I haven't actively practiced massage in a while, I still keep my fingernails nice and short. Just gross. I can't do it. So while we ponder what hair is made out of, what makes hair and our fingernails, I have a question. Zoe Parks has actually answered the question. Keratin makes hair. Here's another question before I answer this question. Attached to hair are tiny muscles. What are those muscles called? What are the muscles that are attached to hair called? Okay. Hi, I have a question. Do many people tell your books help them pass MBLEx? Yes. Well, I mean, I sell a ton of books and almost nobody actually reaches out to me. So unfortunately, I can't. For some reason, I'm getting this question a lot lately. Like, do I know the pass rate of people that have bought my book? No, I don't know the pass rate. There's no way for me to track that. I can't. Now that would be kind of a weird violation of privacy if I were able to look up your test scores after you bought my book. So no, I unfortunately do not have an idea of how many people using my study guides have actually passed the test. Now, the experience that I have with this question that I get comes from when I was actually a massage instructor at a school. And the class that I was tasked with teaching, that I taught for 5 years, was a test preparation course where I would prepare students for the national exam and then the MBLEx after the national exam kind of went away. And it wasn't a licensing exam that was used for licensure anymore. So during the course of my career there, where all I was doing was helping students pass the test, preparing them for the tests, my pass rate was about 90%. So 9 out of 10 students that took the test after they took my class passed the exam. Now, that doesn't mean the first time they took it. It just means overall, because there are some instances where you have people that for some reason they know the material. And I've had this, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I've had instances where I've had students that were really smart and knew everything. But once they get into the test, their mind just goes blank and they end up failing it. And then they take it again and then they pass it again. Now, it's okay to fail sometimes at anything, really. That's how you learn, of course. So if you end up being one of those people that actually fails the exam, I know it's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be a miserable time. I've been there, I promise. I know how it feels. But you take it as a positive experience. You look at it in a different light. Like, yeah, it's not fun that you failed the exam, of course. But just think of it like, now you have experience taking the exam. Now you will be more prepared because you know how the questions are being asked for the next time. And who knows, you could see a lot of the same questions. So if you remember specific questions that were asked on your exam the first time, look up those answers and then get those drilled into your skull. So the next time you take the test, if you happen to have some of those questions again, you're going to get those right? It's so sometimes it is okay to fail, if that makes sense. I mean, we live in kind of a society right now where it's like, no, you have to pass. You have to pass. You can't fail. It's never okay to fail. When actually it is okay to fail. It is okay to not do well the first time you take that test. as long as you're willing to accept that you didn't do well and do better the next time. You gotta put that positive spin on it and say, yeah, the first time wasn't good, but the next time I recognize this question, this question, this question. I know how these questions are worded, and I'm going to pass the test. And chances are, most of the time, people do end up passing the test the second time if they failed it the first time. And some people just have really bad test anxiety. I had one student long time ago who failed. How many times was it? 4. I think she failed the exam 4 times. And this was the national exam. And I think if you failed the national exam 5 times, then you'd have to take an additional number of hours of schooling before they would let you test again. Whereas the MBLEx, I don't think they do that. I think it's just you have to wait. What is it? 30 days. I think you have to wait 30 days, and then they let you test again. And there's no like set amount of attempts that you can take. It's just you don't even have to take any more schooling if you fail it 5 times or anything like that. So that's nice. That's nice. But she failed it 4 times, and she had such bad test anxiety. She was in my class, in my test preparation course for probably at least 100 hours. At least 100, probably like 120 hours. I think she went through like 3 or 4 times to prepare her for the national exam, and she just really bad test anxiety. I can't remember what she did the last time she took it. I can't remember. That was so long ago. I think she might have ended up just switching to the MBLEx from the national exam, because both of them were an option for licensure. The school we were at, here comes one of my cats. Hello, Malcolm. This is Malcolm, named after Dr. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park, of course. Say hello to everybody. There he is. So the MBLEx and the national exam were both used for licensure, and our school was only signing students up for the national exam. They didn't even tell them that there was another option. So I think she did some research and discovered the MBLEx. She's like, well, I might as well try that too. And she did, and she passed. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So going back to my question, we have muscles that stand hair up, right? My cat is he's about to demonstrate this to you. Now let's see, it's going. Now he's a weird cat, and his tail poofs when he is really happy. You can see it happen right down here a little bit. His tail's getting a little thicker because he's very happy because I'm giving him attention. Okay, come here. You are in the way. So what muscles are attached to hair that do that? Poof, there he goes. No, he's coming back. He's coming back. Get up here. Stop doing that. What muscles are attached to hair, which is made of keratin, that help to stand hair up like this? What do you think? They start with an A. They have a specific name. Now, if I keep my... He likes to give me love bites, I suppose. If I put my app... There he goes. He's trying to bite me. Yeah, he's feasting on me. And then he licks, of course. I just don't like the bites because sometimes he bites hard. So the muscle, since nobody's... Oh, so close. It is the arrector pili muscles. ARRECTORPILI. The arrector pili muscles are the muscles that attach to hair, and when they contract, they stand hair up just like that. And it's not really useful for us as humans, but what it's designed to do, it creates goosebumps. And what the goosebumps do on animals, like Malcolm here, is when they stand up, it creates like a small little layer between the skin and the fur, and that layer is kind of like insulates the cat, right? You are insulated. So it's like a blanket, creates like a blanket, traps heat between the fur and the skin and keeps the animal, the cat, as it were, warm. He's trying to eat me. He's trying to eat me. So the erector pili muscles. And if you get that question on the MBLEx, you're going to think about me playing with Malcolm as he's trying to claw me and bite me. Right? He likes me. He likes me. Right? I hope so. I hope so. Hope you like me. So he bites me using his teeth, right? What two muscles are responsible for helping us chew? Are primarily the muscles that help us chew. There he goes. Yeah, I told you he likes me. He likes me. What muscles help us chew? One muscle is actually the strongest muscle in the body by proportionate size. What do you think? Helps us chew. This muscle is responsible for elevating. Hey, there you go. Masseter is one of the muscles. Masseter is the strongest muscle by proportionate size. So very powerful muscle, helps us chew. Which muscle? See, now he's getting feisty. He's got the claws and he's getting too feisty. Which muscle, when we chew, compresses the cheeks, forcing food back in towards the teeth? Also helps to purse our lips. Helps us whistle. And I'm not the best whistler in the world. I mean, I can whistle. Not like some people. I can't. My kid, instead of actually whistling, he just makes the sound. Like when people whistle to try to get somebody's attention, he makes that sound, but he doesn't actually whistle it. It's weird. Masseter attaches to the mandible. The mandible's a bone, not a muscle, right? So inserts onto the mandible. So which muscle? Look at it right here. These muscles. There you go, buccinator. Yeah, buccinator is the muscle located in the buccal region, the cheeks, right? The cheeks. This chair, I don't like this chair. My wife bought this weird chair. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't like it. The buccinator in the buccal region, the cheeks. When it contracts, it squeezes the cheeks in, helps to purse our lips. I got to be careful because if my friends find this, they'll make images of me doing some weird stuff. Purses our lips, squeezes the cheeks in, forces food back in towards the teeth while we are chewing, and that helps us to masticate or chew our food. I hope that makes sense. I hope so. All stuff that you can learn about, of course, in my book, Kinesiology Made Easy. Let me find the, here's the buccinator page right here. There it is. There's buccinator. And here are all the actions that the buccinator performs. And here's all the fun stuff that you can learn about the buccinator. And on the next page, oh no, I lost it. Oh, there it is. On the next page, of course, masseter. Same thing. So when we swallow our food or water or whatever we're drinking, what prevents food from going into the larynx? Prevents us from choking. When we swallow, what prevents food from going into the wrong tube? What do you think? I'm listening to my children, trying to figure out if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. I don't know. What prevents food from going into the wrong tube when we swallow? Starts with an E. Right there. When we swallow this, like let's say there's the larynx, entrance to the larynx. This little flap will close over the larynx so that food can then go into the esophagus instead of the larynx to prevent choking. Not the esophagus. No, the esophagus is the tube that carries the food. It does not sit on top of the larynx and prevent food and drink from entering the larynx. Trying to hear if my kid. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I was distracted. My kids are making all kinds of noise. The epiglottis. Thank you. The epiglottis sits on top of the larynx when we swallow our food or drink. The epiglottis closes the larynx like that and prevents food and water from going into the larynx, so we don't choke. Although sometimes mine doesn't work as well as it should. I'm drinking something and I actually forget to do the swallowing action. It just flows back and then I'm choking. And that's not good. So the epiglottis, yes. What do we have in the back of our throat? Back of our throat, when we swallow, actually goes up and prevents food and water from going up into our nasal cavities and sinus. What do you think? What's that called? This is what, like if I have had far too much alcohol, I will stick my finger in the back of my throat. I know a guy who can't spell throat. He spells it Thoart, thort. So I pronounce it thort, which is awesome. When I'm writing these books, I got to make sure that I'm spelling throat correctly because I spell it thort every other time. Anyway, what's the thing that dangles down from the roof of the from the back of the thort that prevents food and water from going up into our nasal cavities when we swallow? Hey, Malcolm is back. Starts with a U. He's got very sharp claws. Very, very sharp claws. Starts with a U. What do you think? The thing hanging in the back of the throat. When we swallow, it goes up and blocks food and water from entering our nasal cavities. What do you think? What do you think? Nobody's got the answer. Ow. He's got sharp teeth. He just got my pinky. Yes, the uvula. Thank you. The uvula is the structure hanging in the back of the throat. When we swallow, just like the epiglottis closes over the larynx, the uvula kind of closes our nasal passages and keeps food from going up into our sinuses, into our nose. That would be weird. Food going into the nose, right? Right? Yeah. God. He broke skin. I'm bleeding. It's as sharp as teeth are. Hey, what prevents me from bleeding out because of this severe wound that I got from my cat? What cell in the blood prevents me from bleeding out after my cat has broken skin with his tooth? That was probably the hardest he's ever been. Ow. What cell in the blood prevents me from bleeding out after my cat bites me and breaks the skin? White blood cells? No, not white blood cells. White blood cells prevent infection after my cat bites me, destroy all the bacteria that my cat has now introduced into my body through his saliva. But it does not stop me from bleeding. What other cells do we have in our blood? So we got the white blood cells out of the way. We know that's not it. It can't possibly be it. So think about the other types of cells that we have in our blood. There are only two other types, right? two other blood cell types, I should say. What do you think? What type of cell, what type of blood cell is preventing me from bleeding out right now? Just like white blood cells, these cells also have another name. So, like white blood cells are also called leukocytes. Leuko means white, so white cell. Red? No, it's not. It's not the red blood cells. What are the red blood cells? Well, we'll get to that in a second. Red blood cells, also called erythrocytes. Erythro means red. The red blood cells do not prevent me from bleeding out after my cat bites me so hard that it makes me bleed. Hemoglobin? No, hemoglobin is a protein in the cytoplasm of red blood cells, and we will talk about that momentarily. But that does not prevent me from bleeding out. So this cell also has two names. One name starts with a P, one name starts with a T. One name starts with a P, one name starts with a T. You are probably more familiar with the name that starts with a P than the T, but yes, platelets. Platelets, also called, hey, what's the other name for a platelet? What's the other name? What's the name that starts with a T? Because I think this name is more important than platelets, because it kind of tells you what it does in the name. If you know medical terminology, which you should know, of course, you have to know medical terminology if you expect to pass the MBLEx. Anyway, you should definitely study up on your medical terms. It's a lifesaver. Lifesaver. What's the other name for platelets? It starts with a T. My kids are being extra loud right now. Mostly the oldest one, because he's always loud. Always. What's the other name for platelets? Starts with a T. And it tells you what the platelets do in the name. Platelets clot the blood, right? What's another name for a blood clot? And it starts with a T. The other name for a blood clot starts with a T, which is pretty much the same as the other name for platelets. Thrombocytes, yes, thrombocytes that's another name for a platelet. A thrombocyte is a platelet. Okay, so a blood clot is a thrombus. Thrombocytes create thrombi, which are blood clots, right? A thrombus is a blood clot created by thrombocytes. So since we, good job getting that. Since we have determined what blood cells are responsible for keeping me alive after my cat viciously attacked me moments ago, what do red blood cells do? What are they responsible for? Something very important. This is the blood cell that is more important than any of the others. And now my youngest is at the door, wailing because his brother won't leave him alone, I'm sure. What do red blood cells do? Most important blood cell. What is the primary function of blood? What does blood do? Why do we have blood? What's the point? Why do we have blood? What happens if we don't have blood? All important things to think about. Why do we have blood? Why is blood so important? Why is blood so important to our body? What does it do for us? It's the main reason that we have blood. I'm just going to keep asking the same question over and over again before somebody answers, apparently. Why do we have blood? What does it do? Carries O2. How about just O? O. Oxygen, right? Right. Carries nutrients. Yes. The most important nutrient, of course, oxygen. And what else? What is the waste product that we need to get rid of? It's not O2, you guys. It's not O2. Oops, sorry. What is the waste product that we need to get rid of? So we breathe oxygen in and we exhale what? What do we get rid of? Now, I don't know if you can think back to biology class, however long ago that was. For me, I haven't taken a biology class, like a designated biology class, since high school. Plants take in this waste product, and then waste products that plants produce is oxygen, right? And we're the exact opposite. We take in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Thank you. Yes, carbon dioxide. So red blood cells are responsible for transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Do they transport both? Does one red blood cell, God, now I got cat hair all over my face. Does one red blood cell transfer both at the same time? One oxygen molecule, one carbon dioxide molecule, or is it one or the other? Does one red blood cell carry both at the same time, oxygen and carbon dioxide, or does it carry only oxygen and only carbon dioxide at one time? Man, I am so full of questions today. So full of questions. And remember, if you have any questions about the MBLEx or anything like that, just post it right over there in the little chat section. And of course, I'll answer it. Of course, I'll answer it for you. Oh, I gotta watch my cat. I don't want him to kill me. Red blood cells only carry one at a time, so they can only carry oxygen or carbon dioxide at a time. So most of the time, like when a red blood cell is carried to the lungs through, well, trying to see if I want to quiz you now. No, I'll quiz you in a minute. When it's carried to the lungs for gas exchange, is carrying carbon dioxide. Ouch. I'm trying to avoid the cat, and he reaches up and just digs his claw into my thigh. Thank you, Malcolm. So it carries carbon dioxide. When it gets to the lungs, it goes to the alveoli, and the alveoli contains really small capillaries, and that's where gas exchange occurs. So the carbon dioxide detaches from the erythrocytes, the red blood cells, and then oxygen will attach in its place. So it can't carry both at the same time. It can only carry one at a time. It can only carry oxygen or carbon dioxide, not both at the same time. Okay. Which, I'm just kind of branching off from there. Which, speaking of, I mean, that term branching was unintentional, but it makes sense now. Which chamber of the heart sends blood from the heart to the lungs for gas exchange to occur? Which chamber of the heart sends blood from the heart to the lungs to allow gas exchange to occur? Now think about how many chambers we have, right? The heart, a lot of people are confused by the heart. It's really not that complicated. It's essentially the same thing on both sides. We have two sides, a right side and a left side, right? Essentially the same thing on both sides, just the things on each side have different names, okay? So we got two sides. How many chambers on both sides? Each side has two chambers. So we have four chambers, right? They kind of sit like this. So here's the septum, and we have the four chambers. So the top on each side are the atriums or atria. I'm using correct grammar here, atria, and then below that are the ventricles. Okay, so when blood enters into the heart on the right side, it is deoxygenated. So it's carrying, the blood is carrying carbon dioxide. Okay, so it goes through the right atrium, goes into the right atrium, enters into the heart, into the right atrium, then goes through the tricuspid valve. It's called tricuspid because it's the valve is like this. I gotta be careful what the hand signals I'm using. Apparently you can't do that anymore. Looks like that. It kind of looks like a peace sign if you look at it from like above or below. Each one of those flaps, it makes three of them, and that's why it's called tricuspid, 3 points. So it goes through the tricuspid valve that opens and allows blood to go from the atrium down into the right ventricle. Okay, the right ventricle, when it contracts, when that muscle contracts, it sends blood shooting out the heart through these blood vessels that we're going to talk about to the lungs where gas exchange occurs. So the answer is, Sandy got correct, is the right ventricle. Okay. Which blood vessels send blood, or is blood carried from the heart to the lungs in? What's the name of that blood vessel? Those blood vessels, I should say. Which blood vessels?
Nothing to mention.
Hey, close the door. Thank you. He knows. He knows. He knows not to come in here and make noise. So the right ventricle, when it contracts, sends blood out the heart to the lungs. Owen, close the door. No.
I'm gonna be in the video.
No, get out.
A quick second, please. Please, just quick. Hello.
Go out.
Hello. I'm in another dimension.
Get out.
Pebble.
Just get. Owen, I'm busy. Please.
Pebble. There.
You guys, it's not funny. Owen, get out of here. Are you supposed to be in here? I'm gonna tell him some embarrassing things about you. No. Owen, put that down. Thank you. Please leave. Owen, no. Put it down. That's what I get to deal with every day. No, I told you no. Put it down. Put it back. Put it back. Put it back in here. He's going to be in a lot of trouble later. Nobody's... Okay, yes, Sandy has answered the question. Thank you, Sandy, for answering the question. The blood vessel that carries blood from the heart to the lungs is the pulmonary artery. But why is it called an artery if it's carrying deoxygenated blood? Why is it an artery and not a vein? I thought veins carry deoxygenated blood. That's weird, isn't it? They're right outside my door. I'm sorry. And I'm trying to teach with a 7 and almost 2-year-old right outside the door. Such is life. Such is life. So why is it called a pulmonary artery? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because it's carrying deoxygenated blood. Can somebody help me with that? Does anybody know the answer? Why is that called? Why? Has to be big to handle the pressure? Well, some veins are big, right? But why specifically is it called an artery and not a vein? It's carried deoxygenated blood. I thought veins carried deoxygenated blood, but it's called a pulmonary artery? Why would that be? What makes a vein a vein? What makes an artery an artery? That's the question. That's the million-dollar question. I wish I had $1 million to hand out to whoever got this answer right. I wish. What makes an artery an artery? What makes a vein a vein? What defines an artery? What defines a vein? Is it the kind of blood that they're carrying? Oxygenated versus deoxygenated? Is that it? That's not it. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. The kind of blood that the blood vessel itself is carrying, that doesn't define what an artery or a vein is. Although 99% of the time, veins carry deoxygenated blood and arteries carry oxygenated blood. That's not what makes an artery or a vein. So what makes an artery or a vein? If it's not the kind of blood that it's carrying. What makes a blood vessel an artery? What makes a blood vessel a vein? I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with the heart. What makes an artery an artery? What makes a vein a vein? It has something to do with the heart. Tricky question, huh? So I'm trying to be quiet so the kids don't remember that I'm in here, so Owen doesn't come back in and interrupt. Sandy got it correct. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and veins carry blood towards the heart. So that's what defines an artery or a vein. It's not what kind of blood is in the blood vessel, it's which direction the blood vessel is carrying blood in relation to the heart. So because the pulmonary arteries are carrying blood away from the heart to the lungs, despite carrying deoxygenated blood, it's still called an artery. The pulmonary arteries carry deoxygenated blood. So after we have gas exchange in the lungs, does the blood just go to the rest of the body at that point? What do you think? Gas exchange occurs. Where does the blood go from there? Where does the blood go after gas exchange occurs in the lungs? And of course, I'd be remiss while we figure out the answer. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I also have a certified medical assistant study guide for sale right there. Test prep comprehensive study guide and workbook 2020/2021. So if you know anybody preparing for the certified medical assistant exam, send them my way. So you can find this on Amazon. Yeah, just look for it. Got some great stuff. So it's all a lot of the same kind of material that you'd find on the MBLEx. A lot of fun stuff. Just more certified medical assistant type information, stuff about injections and medical tests and stuff. Allergy tests right here. Fun stuff. So I also have that. I've got that. If you know anybody, please refer them. I appreciate it. So where does the blood go after it enters the lungs and gas is exchanged? Where does the blood go from there? I mean, I know. But do you know? I hope you know. Somebody, enlighten me, please. Enlighten me. Where does blood go after gas is exchanged in the lungs? Sandy has got it again. Blood returns to the heart. It doesn't just go out to the rest of the body at that point, right? That contraction that sends blood from the heart to the lungs is, I mean, it's a strong contraction. You have to have enough power to get that blood into the lungs, but the lungs aren't that far away from the heart, so it doesn't have to be that strong. To get the blood to the rest of the body, though, it has to go back to the heart. So from the lungs, it goes back to the heart, to the left side of the heart, enters the heart through the left atrium. The blood vessels that carry blood from the lungs. Bear, come on. Look at the cats and the kids, of course. The blood vessels that carry blood from the lungs back to the heart are called the pulmonary veins. Now, again, even though they're carrying oxygenated blood, they're called veins because they go towards the heart. Okay, so blood enters the heart from the lungs into the left atrium. Sorry, my cats are doing something down here. I keep leaving them down here to get them to stop it. Stop it. Go over there. So it enters the left atrium, then it goes through the bicuspid or mitral valve. So kind of like the tricuspid, you kind of have three flaps, just look like a peace sign. The bicuspid valve, you just split it down into, has 2 points instead of 3. Bi means 2. Bicuspid. It's also called the mitral valve because it looks like the Pope's hat, which is called a mitre, and whatever, now you know. So it goes through that into the left ventricle, and the left ventricle is where we have a really, really strong contraction of that heart muscle, and that contraction shoots blood from the heart out to the rest of the body with enough force to make it to the very bottoms of the feet and then all the way back up to the heart in one swift pump. What is the blood vessel that blood exits the heart out of when it's on its way to the rest of the body? It's not going to the lungs, it's going to the rest of the body. What's the blood vessel? And again, think about what kind of blood vessel this is. What kind of blood vessel takes blood away from the heart? What you think? Arteries, of course. This is the largest artery in the body. What's the largest artery in the body? Carries blood out the heart to the rest of the body. What you think? Largest artery in the body. Carries blood from the heart to the rest of the body. This is this blood vessel can commonly develop aneurysms. And aneurysm, some people confuse aneurysms with strokes. Now, an aneurysm can result in a stroke if the aneurysm bursts, but an aneurysm is a bulge in the wall of an artery caused by weakness in the wall of the artery. So stuff like hypertension can cause the wall of an artery to become weakened. Something like atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis can also contribute, where the blood maybe has kind of a harder time passing through the artery itself, so the heart has to pump extra hard and kind of force the blood through that part the blood is kind of backing up at, and that can cause that part of the wall to become weakened, and it can develop this bubble. Coronoid, no. The answer is no. I think you might be thinking of coronary arteries, and those are not the largest arteries in the body. We have each side of the heart has coronary arteries. The heart is muscle, right? And just like every other muscle, it has to have blood supplied to it by arteries. So the heart doesn't just absorb blood from the chambers. It actually has blood vessels that give it. And that's the coronary arteries. The coronary arteries give the heart muscle its blood supply. But no, that's not the answer. Largest artery in the body. Okay, here's a hint. It starts with an A. Anyway, aneurysms. This blood vessel can develop those aneurysms where the getting all this cat hair all over my face, in my mouth. That's the unfortunate thing about having a beard. Sometimes is sometimes I end up like chewing on my own beard hair. Not fun. Anyway, so an aneurysm, kind of like a bulge, so that part of the artery becomes weakened, and then it kind of bubbles out, and that part of the artery becomes weakened, and if that and it can become easier for that to burst, and if that bursts, then especially in a blood vessel like this, yes, it is the aorta. In a blood vessel like this, the aorta, if you have an aneurysm rupture, then you have all that blood leaking out, and that can kill you pretty quickly within a matter of minutes, depending on where it is and how severe it is. You can have some pretty severe internal hemorrhaging, of course. So the aorta is the largest artery in the body. Blood exits the heart from the left ventricle through the aorta. The aorta will then descend. I got the camera, but the camera's backwards. So I'm going to look at myself. The aorta comes up this way, goes around this way, kind of curves back in, goes straight down the midline. Once it goes through the diaphragm, it becomes the abdominal aorta, and that's where you can have a lot of those aneurysms that we're talking about, the abdominal aorta. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. Geez, anything else I can quiz you about? I asked a lot of questions today, didn't I? Did it? Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on the MBLEx itself? I feel like I'm just rattling off test questions here. Any questions on the MBLEx itself? Of course, throw them into that live chat, and we will discuss. Just you and me. Just you and me. Hopefully not the kids. Hopefully the kids stay away. But you and me. Awesome. Can I think of any other questions? I don't even know how we got to this point, talking about the heart. Oh yeah, my cat bit me. That's how. And then we talked about the blood. Got it. Let's see, what else could I quiz you on? What else do you want to be quizzed on? What? Yeah, I'll leave that up to you. What do you want me to quiz you on? Because I got 8 minutes left. I'm shutting this down after an hour. I didn't expect to be on here an hour. Melissa, good evening. Of course, Melissa may or may not be in one of my books. I think it's the pathology book. Melissa has a brief cameo in that book. When does the price of the MBLEx go up? I have no idea. I didn't know they were going to raise the price. So I guess I have to do some research. I've been on that website. I didn't see anything about them raising the price of the MBLEx anytime soon. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. You might want to just call the FSMTB and ask if the price is going up, or when it's going up, how it's going up, why it's going up. $200 is a little steep already, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize, Melissa. I apologize. Isn't it a little late over there too? What is it, like 6:15 your time? Shouldn't you be resting easy out there in Mormon country? Salt Lake City, of course. Which I was just in a few months ago. $265. $600. $265? Good Lord. It's outrageous. Desmond! My youngest child is at the door. Okay, well, I got the kinesiology made easy, of course. Pick up the 4th edition. Let me see. Let me see if I can find something to test you on. Kinesiology. just flipping through the book. I mean, I could test you on all this stuff, but trying to find something specific. Okay, here we go. What muscle originates on the transverse processes of C1 through C4 and inserts onto the superior angle of the scapula? I don't even need the book. Do this off the top of my head. What muscle originates on the transverse processes of C1 through C4 and inserts on the superior angle of the scapula? So when you get these kind of questions on the MBLEx, you gotta use your imagination, of course. You gotta identify where the cervical vertebrae are, C1 through C4. That's all the way up here, right? So you're thinking about muscles that start here. And then where's the scapula? Back here, right? So you're thinking about muscles that go here, from here to here. What muscle is going to start here and in here? Just got to picture it in your head. And when you take the exam, at least when I took the exam, I'm pretty sure they still do this. You'll get a piece of paper. Usually it's laminated. You get like a little marker or something. I recommend drawing stuff if you need a visual aid or something like that. Like, draw things on there. Don't just leave that paper and do nothing with it. What I always recommend is writing down as many test-taking techniques as you can remember on that piece of paper. Actually draw things on it. Like if you can draw pretty much every bone, the major bones with all the important bony landmarks. Like if you draw the femur, you got to have the head, the neck, the greater trochanter, the lesser trochanter, the adductor tubercle, the condyles, and the epicondyles, right? Essentially it. And if you do the posterior side, the linea aspera too. But if you can draw that, then you got all your reference points. Then you can look back at that and say, oh yeah, there's that point. I know that muscle attaches there, and that muscle attaches to that, like the greater trochanter. I know the piriformis attaches to that. And the lesser trochanter, I know that iliacus and psoas major attach to that. Insert, of course. So if you're able to actually draw, if you're an artiste, like I sometimes think I am, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, absolutely, I can draw the bones. So if you have that capability, even if you don't, force yourself to do it, like practice doing it. That's something that a lot of people overlook when it comes to studying, is doing things outside the box, like actually drawing things. Go back to when you were a kid in elementary school or something, and think about the kind of assignments they had you doing when you were learning how to do things like read and write. Like, what were they having you do? Do a lot of that kind of stuff, and that can help you learn this stuff. Anyway, so on that piece of paper that you get during your test, draw things like the scapula, which is, nobody's answered my question yet. What muscle originates on C1, the transverse processes of C1 through C4, and inserts onto the superior angle of the scapula? Draw the scapula, identify the superior angle, think about muscles, and use your own body as a cheat sheet too. Think about muscles in that area, right? What muscle is in that area? Origin and insertion. The insertion moves towards the origin. So I'm thinking about muscles that start here, end here. When that muscle contracts, this is going to go up to here. So what action is that? Elevation of the scapula, right? So what muscles? You only got a couple muscles that elevate the scapula. So what muscles are going to elevate the scapula? What muscle elevates the scapula? Okay, well, yes, trapezius, but you got to think about the attachment sites. Does trapezius actually attach to the superior angle of the scapula? No. Does it attach to the transverse processes of C1 through C4? No. So trapezius, not going to be the answer. Melissa's got it. The answer is levator scapulae. Right? Levator scapulae starts here, ends here. When it contracts, insertion moves towards the origin. It goes up, elevates the scapula. That's your answer. So trapezius originates on the external occipital protuberance. Inserts over here. Well, inserts on a lot of places. The clavicle and the acromion process and the spine of the scapula, but not the superior angle. It's not the rhomboids. No. Not the rhomboids. What do the rhomboids do? Yeah, one more question. Or maybe two more. This is the problem with me. I get on a roll and I start asking questions and I just don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Of course. What is the main action of the rhomboids? So we have rhomboid major, rhomboid minor. I just bundle them together. So you got the two rhomboids that go. Now, if you could see let's pretend I'm facing backwards. So here's the vertebrae. Rhomboids go in this direction. Originate on C7 through T5. Insert onto the medial border of the scapula right about here. When they contract, insertion is going to move towards the origin, right? What action is that? Again, we're pretending you're looking at my back. So just put that on there. It's the back of my head now, right? So what action is that? Adduction of the scapula. Okay. What's another name for adduction of the scapula? Now, this doesn't apply to like adduction of the shoulder or adduction of the hip or adduction of the thumb. Adduction of the thumb. Retraction is the other term. So adduction or retraction of the scapula. Okay, so they bring our scapulae back towards the midline, which is why it's called adduction. It's adding the structure to the midline of the body. Okay, what muscles are the antagonists of the rhomboids? These muscles are going to protract the scapula, bring it forward, kind of like that. Your shoulder's kind of rounded. It's not good for your posture and everything. What muscles? I'm looking for two muscles. What muscles are the antagonists to the rhomboids that bring the scapula forward? So antagonists do the opposite, right? Anti means against. It does the exact opposite. Okay. So what's the opposite of retraction or adduction? Abduction or protraction, right? So we're looking for two muscles that abduct or protract the scapula, take it away from the midline, bring it forward. So remember, insertion moves towards the origin with these muscles, right? So these muscles have to be on the front of the body because they're bringing the structure towards the front. So what do you think? Oh, I hope that's not too loud. That's probably too loud. My kid has turned on the television, which is right on the other side of this wall. I apologize if you can hear it. Now everybody's turning their volume up. Like, what's he listening to? I don't know. What I care about is you giving me the answer to this question. What are the two muscles that are the antagonists to the rhomboids? These muscles protract or abduct the scapula. All right, I'll give you a hint. I'll give you the origins for these muscles, okay? These two muscles. One muscle originates on ribs 3, 4, and 5. The other muscle originates on ribs 1 through 8 or 9. Some people it's 8, some people it's 9. Yeah. A little bit of variance there, but what do you think? Those are the origins. ribs 3, 4, and 5, ribs 1 through 8 or 9, all the way, all the way down. Oh, you got one of them. Serratus anterior is one of those muscles. Originates on ribs 1 through 8 or 9 and inserts onto the medial border of the scapula, the same location as the rhomboids. When it contracts, it pulls the scapula this way. When the rhomboids contract, it pulls the scapula this way. Okay, so that's one of them. Deltoid does not attach to the scapula. So it doesn't do, doesn't insert onto the scapula. It doesn't do anything to the scapula. Pec major does not attach to the scapula at all. It doesn't originate or insert onto the scapula. So it doesn't do anything, period, to the scapula. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, Roberto, you're on the right track. You're so close. So close. So close. All right, how about this? Pick one. It's not the pecs. Which pec is it? Oh, so close. Which pectoral muscle originates on ribs 3, 4, and 5? In fact, a long time ago, I was doing massage with the local baseball team, the AAA affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Reno Aces, and one of the okay, pick one of those muscles. Oh, I already told you it wasn't one of them, so give me the right answer. Pec minor. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh Abear. Of course, I'm wearing my Saints hoodie. I know it's hard to be a Saints fan, but Saints quarterback back in the early 90s was Bobby Abear, who's now the radio guy for the Saints, I believe. Bobby Abear. Josh Abear. Anyway, yes, pectoralis minor. So back when I was doing massage with the Reno Aces, okay, here comes my other cat, Bear. Who dat, Josh? Who dat? One of the strength and conditioning guys asked me, like, what muscle, where does the pec minor attach? And I told him ribs 3, 4, and 5. He was like, no, actually, if you look at a cadaver, it's actually rib 2. It actually starts at rib 2. I'm like, no. Maybe you looked at a weird cadaver, but I've looked at several cadavers in my day, and it's always rib 3, from what I've seen. Yes, the answer is pec minor. So pec minor originates on ribs 3, 4, and 5, inserts onto the coracoid process on the scapula. So because it inserts onto the scapula, it moves the scapula. When it contracts, insertion moves towards the origin, so it's going to pull the scapula this way. Okay, so the most direct antagonist to the rhomboids is serratus anterior. It's going to pull whereas the rhomboids will pull it back like this, the serratus anterior pulls it down and in like this. Okay, and they insert at the same spot, the medial or vertebral border of the scapula. Okay. Well, Josh, I'm glad you're taking it seriously enough to where you're joining the MBLEx test prep live stream 6 months before you are done with school. So I like when people take it serious. I like that I have a captive audience, as it were, here on YouTube, of course. And of course, I have study guides available. Not sure if you were aware of that. I do have study guides available. Just go to MBLExtestprep.com, click on the study guides section. You'll find all of my books. Or just go on Amazon, search for MBLEx Test Prep, look for my name. If you don't see my name attached to it, it's not my book. So, yeah, that's about it. Unless it's this one, of course. My name isn't attached to this one, but I did write this book. I'm not a medical assistant, so I felt it'd be weird if I put my name on a medical assisting book, not being a medical assistant, but worked with medical assistants to create that book, but I'm not a medical assistant. I am a licensed massage therapist, though, and I'd show you my license. Oh, I can show you my license just to prove it. There it is, Nevada State Board of Massage Therapy. Look at that. Look at that beautiful face right there. I had a bigger beard back then, a year ago when I took that picture. A great big bushy beard. See if anybody gets that reference. I'm full of references that nobody gets. Does anybody get that reference? A great big bushy beard. Probably not. Probably not. Roberto has retracted his message. I saw that. I was paying attention, Roberto. The answer is pec minor, of course. Okay. Do we want one more question? Do we want one more? I can do one more. My computer's at 9% battery, so I think that's all. That's all I've got left in me anyway. Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna look it up in a book. I'm gonna come up with this question off the top of my head. Let me see. Oh. It just warned me. My computer just warned me it's about to go to sleep. Maybe I should stop the live stream. I could get up and get the power cord. That's too far away. That's too far away. Okay, so I'm gonna, you know what? I'll save it for another day. So, of course, before I leave, I do have study guides available. MBLEx Test Prep 2020 version. It's available on Amazon right now for less than $40, which is a heck of a deal for a heck of a guy or gal. So head over there, search for MBLEx Test Prep 2020. You'll see it. It's the one that kind of looks like this, but doesn't. It's got different photos. Same design though. Same general design. I like to keep my books looking somewhat similar. So pick that up for sure. That's best study guide you're going to get. Not only do I have the book, I have all of the online material that goes with it. I have unlimited online practice tests. I have pre-made flashcards online for you to use. These work on cell phones and everything. I have video lectures, which is kind of like what I just did here. It's like being in class with me. Like I got 10 hours worth of video on there where it's just you and me, just going over this stuff. Lots of awesome stuff on the website that's included with your purchase of the MBLEx Test Prep study guide. So definitely head over there. I also have the MBLEx Test Prep 10 MBLEx practice tests and pre-made flashcards. Like if you want the physical flashcards, you can pick that up. All you have to do is cut out the flashcards. They're pre-made for you, ready to go. Covers all the important stuff that could be on the MBLEx. Makes it pretty easy. I have pathology for massage therapy. So if you need to brush up on pathology, and again, these are all great books that you can use as reference in your practice when you are out as a massage therapist after you're done with your MBLEx. Pick up these books for that. Pathology for massage therapy, first and second edition, both available on Amazon. First edition is color, second edition black and white, but second edition is cheaper. So make your choice. What else do I have? Oh, kinesiology made easy, which I was just staring at. Of course, kinesiology made easy. If you like learning about kinesiology, all the bony landmarks, muscle attachments, great stuff like that. That is the book for you, Kinesiology Made Easy. Goes over the major muscles of the body, gives you all of the important information about each one of those. Get the fourth edition, of course. And that's about it. So before my computer dies, this is David saying so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye, and thanks for joining me. All right, take it easy. And end. Hopefully,